Welcome back to yet another episode of how we bought our house in Portugal and everything that came with it. If you are new here, I am Luiza and I'm talking about everything Portugal and especially Algarve because this is the area where we ended up buying a house. In the first episode, which I will link in the description, I talked about how we ended up buying a house in Portugal, about the fact that we took a loan, about our relationship with the realtors, but there is more to add there. So we stopped the story and now the story continues. We are in June 2019. We found our dream broker and he applied for us at the bank. The first bank he applied to was Santander. We didn't choose the bank. Coming from Romania, we had few choices. We trusted in him to apply to the bank of which he knew we had the most chances, and he chose Santander. Of course, he applied to many banks, but Santander was the one most likely to give us the credit. So to just put in a few words the documentation I needed for the credit, for those who didn't watch the first episode, we are not employees, we own our own businesses, and this means that you need a lot of documentation to prove the income, not just a piece of paper from your employer saying what salary do you have, but we needed to provide a lot of documentation. And that documentation was, of course, my ID in my country and the passport, a utility bill from my country proving my residence in that country, financial statements of the companies I own dating back 3 years, personal taxes income dated back 3 years for me. Of course, the Portuguese NIF that my lawyer obtained, and also I talked about this in the previous email. Proof of ownership of my businesses, which means documents from the TAE register that prove that I actually own the businesses. This was a problem for us. Every bank in Portugal requires you a proof from the central bank in your country that you don't have other mortgages in your country, so they can determine what sum of money you can pay them monthly for this mortgage you get here in Portugal. The problem is that in our country, you don't have a central bank. I know that you have that in UK because they insisted with that. This central bank doesn't work with the public, doesn't have the attribution of meeting with the public and give this piece of paper that said that you don't have mortgages. And this is also related with the fact that we don't have in Romania evidence, a centralized evidence with all the properties and the owners. So we provided all this documentation minus this piece of paper, and our broker said, let's wait and see what happens. You should expect an answer in like a week because they give the pre-answer fairly quickly. They just browse to the papers and they just know if they want to give you a loan or not. And the weeks and months started to pass. We sent an email every 1.5 weeks to the broker saying, is there a problem? Can we do more? Can we provide more documentation? And he said, no, now your documentation is the legal department. They are expecting an answer, blah, blah, blah. So from June, the end of June, until October, we just waited for this answer. We were used to waiting that much because in our country it's fairly difficult to get a loan. I mean, they don't respond you in a week, you have to wait. We thought this is normal, okay, we will be waiting. Of course, I was pushing the broker to find out more information, but he said also that in July and August they are not working, so I should expect a delay there. At the middle of September, I just said, look, a lot of time has passed, maybe we should apply to another bank because just for safety, because this is taking a long time, the end of the year is near, and I would just like to have this done by the end of the year. It was our goal. I want to purchase a property by the end of 2019. So I have to have this loan because I have to be able to make an actual offer to the realtors. I've seen some apartments by now, and I can't make a proper offer because I don't know if I can pay for the apartment. So I need to have this to count on. After one more week, he responded that unfortunately Santander rejected our file. Santander said that we are a risk because we can provide the fact that we don't have mortgages, and also we are from Romania and blah blah blah, so we didn't get a loan. But he said that he will immediately apply to other banks. I have to be very sincere with you guys because this is why I'm here, and in that moment I just shut down. I didn't want to hear about Portugal, about any apartment. I didn't want to hear about the broker. I didn't want to hear about anything related to Portugal. I was very depressed and I said, I'm not buying anything. I don't want to know anything about this country anymore. But the fact was that I already booked the flight to our next trip to Portugal in October, because I was expecting that in October I would have the credit, so I will go there and actually sign the documents for the house. On this part I was depressed. On the other part, I had to go to Portugal or I would just lose the money for the tickets, which I don't do. I just waited for the time to pass and just went to Portugal anyway, like in a vacation, which I was expected to be my last vacation in Portugal for a long time, because I didn't want to be reminded of everything Portugal, at least until I got out of this weird depression. So we got to Portugal. We stayed in Quarteira. Because in the back of my mind I was just running this scenario in which when I got over this weird phase, it's clear that we can afford a house in Val do Lobo, so we have to start looking in another areas. Vila Moura and Quarteira, which is the cheaper part of Vila Moura, seem like a good options, and let's just book a Airbnb in Quarteira, see how the life is here, how it would be to live in a city and how it would be to live in this part of the city of Vila Moura. So I have some videos filmed there. Take a look if you want. I will link in the descriptions. So it's October 2019. We don't have a loan. We don't have any prospects, but we are in Portugal. In the first week of this vacation, we just started enjoying the life in Portugal. We just worked remote, just being us there in Portugal with nothing to expect. One day, after 1 week, I received an email. I just remember I was sitting on the couch in this apartment and just receiving an email from the realtor. And when I saw the email that is from him, I thought, oh my God, another bad news. He was pushing me to obtain another loan. Maybe I will do that in a month or so. I'm not ready right now. I cannot do this. And I remember reading the email, and the email began with good news, congratulations. We applied at another bank and you obtained the pre-loan. I mean, the pre-approved, you have a pre-approved loan. And I was like very shocked from several reasons. One reason was that when I abandoned everything, this person, this company just did it for me, came through for me and took my documents from a bank and give it to another bank and did all of that without bothering me and talking about the initiative. I mean, you have to be to live in Portugal to know that here initiative is inexistent. So it was a surprise for me that this person, this firm did this for me. And in such a moment, a difficult moment for me. The second surprise was that actually someone wanted me as a client and we had this pre-approved loan. What do we do now? Because we have to put everything back in motion and we have to hurry up, do everything we are supposed to do in the time remaining of our trip. I just ran from my place on the couch and immediately contacted, told to my husband, we did a dance of joy and contacted the realtor. So we met with him the next day in his office in Lagoa, where is also the bank. The bank we got a loan is BPI, and if you ask me, we got a better deal than Santander. Overall, we felt that we had a very good relationship with BPI through all the problems that followed. So BPI and the people working there in Lagoa were for us a lifesaver. I mean, talking about choosing your people, maybe Santander was the bigger bank, but BPI was the human bank for us. I cannot speak about Santander, maybe they are okay too, but we got to know these people here at BPI, and we were very surprised about how much they helped us, going beyond their duties, not only doing their duty as the employees of the bank, but they actually hold our hand through the process, and this is really not their job to do, but they did it. The next day we met with the broker. We've been talking intensely for months and months, and just seeing in real life and meet in the real life was fairly emotional. He explained fast forward what we need to do. We need to go to the bank, and we did just in that day and open an account. Cannot be opened from the distance, so the lawyer and him couldn't do this for us. We had to be in Portugal to do it. And also we discussed about our option and what property do we want to buy.